I'm Kara Waits for Western TV, here with Miss Andrea Horwath, the leader of the New Democratic Party of Ontario. And we're here at the Women's Issue Network's Women in Leadership panel and dinner. Thank you so much for being a distinguished guest here tonight.
Oh, I'm thrilled. It's going to be a wonderful evening.
So my first question, I was really wondering what first sparked your interest in politics?
You know, when I was young, I was probably around your age, actually. I had just finished university, and I started doing a lot of community development work, community organizing work, social justice activism in Hamilton, in my home community. And there was just, it's hard work, you know, it's hard work, and oftentimes you feel frustrated that your voice is not heard in the places where it should be heard. And so I decided at one point that it was time to actually try to find a place at the decision-making table instead of just banging on the doors from the outside.
That's great, and definitely something I feel university students can relate to. That kind of goes along with my next question. I was wondering, during your undergrad at McMaster, and we won't take offense to that as Western students, I was wondering if there's anything that you're involved with there that impacted your career path.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. When I started at McMaster in business, but I switched to labor studies. So I went from one side of the coin to the other. And I decided, as I left McMaster, I was thinking of going to law school. But at that point in time, there was a very serious recession in Ontario. And I decided that in my own home community, I could actually do some positive work there because there were lots of folks that were being laid off from the factories, folks that didn't have to do anything to get those jobs in the first place, but it was a different story. And in the mid-'80s, when I left university, those same folks were being laid off. They couldn't write resumes. Many of them could not read and write in English. Many of them had very poor numeracy skills. So myself, a couple of my student colleagues, a couple of our professors worked with the Labour Council in Hamilton to put together a worker education center. And that's how I kind of transitioned from university into the working world in my field of study. We created our own jobs, more or less, by taking a look at what's happening in our community and trying to provide some assistance for workers.
That's amazing, and being able to recognize at such a young age the problems and be able to address them and not let your age really limit you in helping other people. During your time at University in Hamilton and a lot of your campaign videos, you talk about being a waitress, and that's how you paid your way through university, and something definitely university students can relate to. And oftentimes we hear that those are the jobs that teach us things that we take on in our careers. And I was wondering if there's anything you learned as a waitress that has really stuck with you.
Oh, you know what? It was. I loved waitressing because you get to meet so many people. You meet some people that aren't, the most pleasant, but generally you learn in waitressing that most people are fantastic. I mean, you get the odd crabby person, but most people are fantastic. You learn how to balance 5 plates and 2 hands. It's quite good. But you know what? The other real skill is there are 2 real skills. One is listening. You have to really listen when you're waitressing, because you want to get their order right. You want to make sure that you're serving them properly, and because your tip relies on that. If there's one other thing, it's the extent to which people overall are just great people, and that's something that I learned in waitressing, and it carries through to my experience in politics.
Definitely. Now, looking at your experience in politics and being a public figure, especially in politics, you must face a lot of criticism. How do you deal with it and not let it really bring you down and affect you too much?
Well, there's the saying that you have to grow a thick skin, but I worry that if you grow too thick of a skin and you become too impervious to criticism, it doesn't give you opportunity to grow. And so I think you have to take the criticism with a grain of salt. To some extent, you have to understand where it's coming from. So what's the motivator of that criticism? Is it to try to purposely, in politics can be a pretty bloody sport, right? So sometimes the criticism's aimed specifically at trying to pull away your confidence. Other times it's legitimate criticism that you can then utilize in a constructive way to perhaps make changes.
What is one piece of advice you would give to young women who are looking to get involved with politics?
Don't let it scare you away. No, it's really interesting. I'm glad to see more and more women getting involved in politics. I'm proud to see that my caucus in Queen's Park now has more than 50% women. In fact, it's the first caucus anywhere in Canada. I think in North America that's been over 50% women, and we're proud of that. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we engage women, we encourage women to run, we support women when they run, and we support women when they win. So if you're interested in politics as a young woman, get involved early, get involved with your riding associations or with your local kind of community, depending on where you're interested in getting involved, whether it's at the municipal level or whether it's provincial or federal. And again, politics and our, not just politics, but our policy decisions, the way our province is shaped in the future, can only benefit from having more women involved.
There you go. That's definitely some great encouraging words for young women. I just wanted to thank you again so much for having the chance to sit down with us, and we're definitely looking forward to what else you have to say this evening.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to a fun night. Thank you.
Great.